There is a rhythm moving through your life, one that cannot be rushed, forced, or controlled. Welcome to Sacred Fertility Flow. I'm Ashley Holmes, holistic fertility coach and guide, and this is a space where you're invited to return to your body, your intuition, and your divine timing. Together, we explore what it means to become fertile in mind, body, and spirit so
Mm,
that you can move from striving into flow. Today,
mm,
I'm joined by my dear friend, Denise Morrison. Denise is a trauma-informed emotional eating coach, certified integrative health practitioner, doctor of physical therapy, and master NLP practitioner who helps women break free from emotional eating by addressing the root causes, not through diets, shame, or willpower, but through nervous system regulation, subconscious healing, and compassionate self-understanding. With over
mm.
15 years of clinical experience, Denise has helped thousands of women rebuild trust with their bodies and find lasting peace with food. In today's conversation, we're exploring a part of the fertility journey that isn't talked about nearly enough: emotional eating, stress, shame, and how creating safety within your body can change your relationship with food and yourself. Denise, I'm so grateful you're here. Welcome to Sacred Fertility Flow.
Thank you, Ashley. I love you, and I'm so glad to be here too. Yay.
I'm so excited for this conversation, and I know you have so much wisdom and knowledge to share because you yourself did once struggle with infertility too. And so you can really speak not from standing on a pedestal, but from lived experience and how you began to work with women and realizing that what we're experiencing isn't actually about food or the struggle or the suffering in the moment. So I would
Mm.
love for you to share as much of your story as you feel comfortable with and what led you to help people in the way that you do now.
Well, geez. Little did I know growing up, after surviving a very dysfunctional, traumatizing childhood, that my body would be in fight or flight. And I had no idea that was like the theme to my body, mind, and soul back then. And so I just did what I discovered would help me cope. And from the uh, generations around me and their behavior that they modeled, how to cope with life. And so, thinking I was doing all the right things as a good girl back then, I learned how to eat well and follow this diet and follow that diet and take these supplements and go get checked because I wanted to be on top of things. But back then, this is like in the 90s, as we head into 2000s, when I met my husband, I did not realize that all that wonderful baggage, we'll say, came with me and was underlying everything when we were trying to conceive. And he didn't know. I mean, he grew up in Scotland and New Zealand, and we were living in Australia at the time, and this wasn't talked about. Like a lot of this trauma-informed practices were not talked about, and stress was just thrown around, like, or just relax, then it'll happen. Oh my gosh, right? And so um, I was seeking help while I was over there, but then I went to a naturopathic doctor out of the blue, thinking, all right, this is way out of the box. And she, helped me tremendously realize how I was all connected, mind, body, and soul. It just wasn't like the medical system. And found some things that we needed to work on, like, regulate my hormones in a different natural way. But she also said, you're so mean to yourself. And I said, what? And she's like, the way you think and the way you speak about your body and your life and this circumstance trying to conceive, what that's doing to your body chemistry is probably affecting you so much more than you ever realize. And I was like, what in the world did I just hear? And so I had faith in her, and thankfully I was surrounded by a bunch of amazing women in Australia at the time. And they're like, go to her. She gets it. She really gets the underlying stuff. And so, anywho, after seeing that doctor, she sent me to an NLP practitioner, and neuro-linguistic programming practitioners and coaches back then were very popular, still are in Australia. And she taught me how my mind chatter, what my beliefs were, my self-talk was sabotaging my body and killing my body, so to speak, like shutting down anything. And she's like, you're in survival mode. You don't feel safe in your own body. You telling your body you hate it. You're blaming your body for not getting pregnant. And I mean, I'm sure many of your listeners can relate to some of these things that go through our minds, what we're saying. But anyway, after it was like a year and a half of working with her and ensuring that I was doing self-care practices, I was calming down. Heck, I was living on the Gold Coast of Australia. It was easy to go out and play and goof off. And then, boom, out of the blue, we were surprise. I fell pregnant, got pregnant back then, and it was so easy because I it was like as if everything took a big exhale. Like everything in both of us was like, we the household became nicer. We started speaking about ourselves and our bodies better. So, because I mean, he was suffering in his own way too. But yeah, that just cracked me open because I was convinced, I couldn't get my hormones right. I didn't eat well. I wasn't exercising enough. I was exercising too much. I wasn't my legs up the air, the right places and times. And but
All
I
of
was
the things.
all the things. I'm like, I'm the good girl. I'm doing what I've been told, which was baggage from childhood. And I was like, I had to do the opposite of that. So yes, that was eye-opening, mind-blowing experience for sure.
For anyone who's not familiar with NLP, what would you say the benefits for them understanding? You know, often in sessions, I can pick up so much that is said either consciously or unconsciously, or in emails or in voice notes, and the tone of the voice. There's so much that is said that we don't even realize
Mm.
because it's just living within us and it's running this background program that we're not even aware of, and that we really can, one, become aware and we can change that narrative, and it doesn't have to be the program that keeps running. I would love for you to just dive a bit deeper into that so that people
Yeah,
can really understand that these thoughts that are running in our mind do matter and they are landing
yeah.
into our body.
Oh, sure. I mean, they're so powerful, those directing commands to send the hormones in your whole being of like run away, run towards, fight, flight, freeze, fawn, like all the places that, and why would our bodies like, nope, this is not a safe place to have a baby. It's not a safe place for anything to grow here. But yeah, no. So usually, like the neurolinguistic programming is kind of the beautiful way to say is that your language, and you'll see from the way you talk to people and what you're reading, that the words that they use, the pace, the tone, um, like even I'm excited to talk to you right now, but how someone's breathing, their facial changes, how they're holding their posture. I mean, a lot of us that have been suffering or like and grieving have rounded over and
Mhm.
we have all these other stuck places and but usually someone's language and the stories that they're sharing I mean the words that some women use, I mean the words that I used about myself, you're like, wow, no one would speak to a pet like that or their friend or anything, and that's all running in the background just creating such havoc in the body. So if you have an Ashley in your life or a Denise in your life or a really good friend that you can swap back and forth and say, what am I saying? Like if you're just chit-chatting with a close, safe person that you feel could hold the space for you, what do I sound like? Or if you don't have that person, record it and without judging yourself, like
Yes,
what
that
you
is the key.
hear and what you see is to go, geez, I am really crying out for help in some way. There's some story that needs to come out of me. There's some memory that needs attention. There's some emotion that needs to be like looked at carefully, as if a baby is crying. Like you're not like, shut up. You go, why could this baby be crying? So why are you screaming, crying, scared, whatever it is? And have a safe person work with someone like us, or listen to it if you can do so. But that's what I would say. And more and more people now are struggling with the way the world is. So having a safe person to talk to, get one. That's all I can say. But yeah, does that make sense? Because it also like in is physiologically and somatically as you're with like the yoga, I mean, our chakras are involved, our joints are involved. We know there's so much stored inside of our body, and any techniques that you offer and I offer can start to open up these areas that need attention and speak more that they probably aren't catching consciously or on the
Mhm.
paper. It's like, wow, every time I go into this pose, this happens, or I bawl, or, oh, heck, I'm not even breathing at all.
Yes. I think sometimes we don't even realize throughout the day how we're sort of holding our breath until whatever moment passes, or we just get through whatever is in front of us, and then they're like, and then I'll relax, you know? But then sometimes maybe they don't, and that day turns into a week and a month and a year, and that can really happen on the fertility journey where you just are okay, I just have to get through this. I just have to get through this. And it's very high strung, high paced, and you're just going through the motions and doing the best that you can in the moment. But there's
Yeah.
no relief, there's no exhale. It's all just being stored within you, and you're just waiting, hoping, holding on until you get there. But sometimes this braced feeling, is what is actually holding us back.
Oh, 100,000%. I mean, I could speak to this again, but just that bracing of the body, once again, you're in fight or flight mode or protection mode, and the body's going, what we cannot put a baby in there. Like it's not safe. Like it's not going to nourish. The body is trying to hold itself together, never mind nourish a little being. So I'm sure you've talked about that a lot, but yeah, we have every reason to be looking after ourselves more so now than forever, it seems, as humans. Like we need to take care of ourselves. And I think we have more flexibility and we can put boundaries up to be like, no, like no, we need to look after ourselves. And so, yeah, we've talked about this heaps.
Yes, absolutely. I think so many times people think that they can sort of willpower their way through to achieve, the end result. And you can't force things into being, you can't make things happen, especially in this area, in this dynamic. And so I think if you want to speak to why we sometimes are just like, no, I just need to, will my way through this, or consider yourself weak when you're falling apart, or you're reaching for food for comfort, or, you think that I held it together all day, and why am I falling apart at night?
Yes, 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 yes. And I didn't answer your question before. I know we jumped back, but this as you're speaking and as I'm speaking to everybody, these are the reasons why I jumped into what I do now. Just because you can tell how passionate I am and we are about this, because it's like this needs to stop so that women can feel better about themselves. But no, I was fortunate enough to, grow up in the era. I'm a Gen Xer, and all we learned in the household was work harder, try, try, try. I'm
Do,
laughing
do,
because it was
do, and
do,
no,
do, do.
no being, no relaxing,
No,
no
nothing like that.
moments.
And yeah, and so part of like when I discovered NLP and when I was in Australia at the time, learning that that was going on in the background, that program of push, go, willpower, and according to like my dad, I wasn't a good girl if I wasn't pushing and going and doing and being productive. But when the body needs to be in more of a parasympathetic rest and digest mode, you're not getting that if you're pushing and willpowering and struggling. And well, duh, if you're stressing yourself out that much, of course sugar is going to come to the rescue or salt's going to come to the rescue or I mean to the extent other behaviors that I've done and my fellow like clients and other sufferers like drink, smoke, whatever, sex it up. I mean, we're looking for relief from that constant pressure that we've unconsciously put on ourselves to go, be, show up, show up, show up. And it's like we really have to put blinders on ourselves to not listen to all the noise coming in because they're not living your story inside of you. So knowing that, okay, having a craving for something. I mean, if you're going through this process and like I used to crave sweets like you wouldn't believe. And I would like, here's my story. I would make brownie mix, chocolate brownie mix, and not even bake it. I would lick it because it was the quickest way to ease the pain and the stress because I got that big hit of, am I going to ever conceive? Am I good enough to do this? What's wrong with me? You're not pushing yourself hard enough. And so those cravings that I was having mostly for sweet was like my body saying, yo, yo, yo. But I interpreted it as I'm a bad girl. So having gone through the NLP, I started to learn, wow, my body is speaking, my body's wisdom is speaking, and that was new language back then. So now it's more common. And so yeah, when we have a symptom, it's not necessarily a bad thing. Like these generalized symptoms that no one can find an answer for, or you don't have a lab result for, the mystery things. So yes, your body is very intelligent and it's always talking to you. We have to listen.
Yes, we do have to listen. One of the things that I have heard and I have seen many places, especially online, is people wanting to go for IVF and then being told that they need to lose weight and then they would be allowed to proceed. And I would love to just speak to, because I think it's heartbreaking to go to someone for support, to be told that, and then be offered no sort of protocols to help. And I believe it leads to more shame, and it's not going to actually let that person heal or get to the root cause of why that weight may be there in the first place and help them, move forward in a way that serves their body and their baby and also their health and well-being. Because to hear that from a professional must be pretty devastating, in my opinion. And how to move through that if someone is in that scenario or is in that situation.
Well, goodness gracious, right there. How many times have we all heard professionals while we've been on this journey, and many of us in many journeys lose weight or just blatantly, bluntly, without any emotional intelligence or that beautiful holding space that we offer. And so that it's like you have to go and listen to what they're saying with like boundaries on your mind and body, going, wait a minute, they don't know the story if they haven't heard my story and who I am on the inside and what I've been feeling. Of course, that's hurtful. And if you are prone to shaming yourself or prone to picking up language that's negative or that's fearful, or your body and your mind are just like relates to that. Of course, don't take it in. And I know that's easier said than done. That's when you can say,
Mhm.
wait a minute, this person only knows me in these like laboratory, scientific, medically framed situations. Do they really know me? And so if anybody has been told that, like, and they tell you to lose weight, find a trusted friend or a trusted like coach or person like us, because we can listen to your story and help you figure out, like, wait a minute, let's see what's going on. Because if that's a straight off comment, like, oh, you have to lose weight to do this, that's so loaded, as you know, like there's so much underneath that, so many years of possible like shaming and baggage. And so stopping and going, wait a minute, okay, they said this. All right, let me not take this on. Just because they're the professional, I don't need to take those things on. And I can go and do my research and figure things out. And if it helps, I mean, if the person wants to lose the weight or it's registering within them once they check with their intuitive guidance and go, wait a minute, no, my body is like totally great this way, or if they come on board with some reason, I hope that the listeners can be like, all right, this actually resonates with me. I'm going to do this or I'm not going to do this. But diving into all that is behind, as we said with the NLP stuff, if someone says that you need to lose weight, what's underneath all that? Like, what does that trigger in their mind and body? And we can start to unravel that and pick it apart and realize maybe there's a story or maybe there's something that happened in the past that's keeping that like program of, okay, keep weight on, or do something to the opposite extreme. So I don't know what healthcare providers in your area, but like I usually now go in and say to them my piece, and I will correct them if they say something that says something to the effect that's very emotionally charged. So, but we can help people with language with that so that they don't walk in feeling, oh, the professional said this and I'm down here. Does that
Hmm.
make sense? Did that answer your question?
Yeah, that absolutely does. And I love that you dived into it and explained it that way because people should walk away from appointments feeling empowered, feeling positive, feeling that there is hope and that there is support there available to them. And I know when
Mm.
I conceived my youngest, I was deemed geriatric, and I was like, oh, you can say that, but in mind, body, and spirit, I felt the best I had in years. And
Yeah,
so I was like, I'm not embodying that.
right.
I felt a million times better than I did when I was having twins and was pregnant with twins. And I was like,
Yeah.
those are just your words, but that is not me. And at the time I was 36, and I was like, you can say that, but no, I don't feel that at all. So definitely creating and having that space within
Mm,
yourself
mm,
to not take that on. Do
mhm,
not take on perhaps family comments or criticism
mm,
or
mm,
things at work that may
mhm,
show up. They don't have to reflect who you are, and nobody
mm.
knows you or your story except for you.
Yes, yes, yes. And you're allowed to keep it private, and you're allowed to give answers to the public that are just like put boundaries. I mean, seriously. And if you need help, there's ways that you can craft that. But yeah, you're right. Leaving the place with hope and empowerment would be awesome, wouldn't
Yes.
it?
I see so many, reels or posts or things, of people crying in their cars or just like holding it together in the moment and then finding that safe place where they can fall apart, but then sharing it online. And so it's kind of a double-edged sword, but I think you really have to know and do what is right for you and to follow your gut and your intuition
Mhm.
in all of these circumstances, but often our gut can be compromised in this fertility journey for so
Yes,
many reasons,
yes,
and it is a lot to digest mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually,
yep,
and that can lead to
yep.
imbalances one way or the other. So maybe you want to
Yep.
share your perspective of how our gut can be affected.
Oh gosh, I mean, I'm just like rolling back the timeline of my life, something we talk about in NLP. The amount of overeating and sweet eating and emotional stress eating that I did to cope with my household growing up and reaching for all those sweet treats. I mean, lots of carbs because my body knew what it was doing to survive and to cope. It was reaching for quick, fast, comforting food. And I didn't know that. And my parents didn't know that. And I had no idea that it was setting my gut up for yeast, fungus, mold. I mean, I said yeast and fungus, but like an abnormally, let's say, wacky microbiome where I wasn't able to produce the hormones that I needed that was affecting me as I was like coming of age to have my period and then go into trying to conceive, but nobody knew that. So knowing that the gut microbiome is more understood now. We have people that can help us. And if you're sensing any way, shape, or form that like, okay, my gut and my mood, my brain gut highway is affected somehow, or I've been thinking these things and worrying, that worry and that stress and that negative self-talk will definitely interfere with your gut health and happiness and awareness. And then vice versa, what you're eating, even though you might be craving things, okay, we can work on those cravings. We can find some other way to nourish you so that we can improve your gut microbiome so that it starts working for you to give you the nutrients that you need so that your body's nourished and calm and you're able to conceive and your body's like, okay, we built the house, we're ready to go, instead of, oh crap, I'm living off of this, that, and the other thing, and your gut microbiome is not even giving you the nutrients. to conceive, to grow the rest of you, to keep improving your health. And I think my growth was actually stunted along the way. And I did not know that because nobody knew back then. Like the food that you eat is going to affect your hormones so much and your gut. And then your
Mhm.
happy hormones in your brain and all the things that these women probably get checked. And they're like, why is this out of whack? Well, but yes, definitely seek out help, or there's plenty. Seek out help for addressing your gut brain issues for real. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because people may not even be aware that this can be an issue. So, thank you for speaking to that. And I also want to dive into some fertility folklore here, where there is a tradition of eating McDonald's after an embryo transfer, and some people swear by it, and others feel guilty if they don't. And so I would love your thoughts of why we're clinging to these rituals and how maybe we should stop outsourcing our internal outcomes.
Well, there's two things with that. Like, if someone's belief is that strong and it works for them, I mean, then that tells the person, wow, you are so powerful in your belief that you can manifest and make something happen. Sounds like we need to help you reframe and rewire everything inside of you and go, you got this. Let's change that really strong belief because yay, you made McDonald's rock this. You know what I'm saying? Um, right? Like our beliefs are so powerful.
They are.
But
Yes.
that's the thing is if someone has that much resource and power inside them that their beliefs are on it, guess what? You're going to be able to use those powerful beliefs to do whatever you can in your life. Seriously.
Hmm.
Um, but saying if we're talking about McDonald's, I mean, what's in the food? Like, I mean, if you were to break down and see what's actually in the food, I can't imagine you would be happy to learn all the chemicals, toxins, fake stuff that's in there that's taking away your healthy gut biome, affecting your ability to digest nutrients. You're probably not even getting any nutrients. So, I mean, I'm not saying like go full off or full on, like find a balance and listen to your body. We'll talk about that. But that's the thing is like, is it really working for you? And as Ashley was saying, is like, if you're just reaching on for something, please give me this thing. And you know inside your gut, like you know inside your whole being, like, no, that is absolutely incongruent. It's crazy. Then you're fighting the internal battle with yourself, teaching yourself, I can't trust my inner being, my body, because I'm listening to outside sources. So if you're actually going against yourself, you're sabotaging yourself and adding insult to injury with food that's probably not nutritious, that could be affecting your whole healthy inner being. Um, yeah, and in saying that, also like guarding ourselves from what's out there online now, everybody could have a similar story, but you don't know what's going on inside their mind and body unless they're having this really open and honest conversation going, every single day I think this, and this. Not everybody's spilling that kind of gossip out there. But
Yes.
what's going on inside your mind could be totally different from them. So they might have said something that you're latching onto, but it's not going to work for you if you don't have the belief system and the self-talk and the whole being to say that's going to work for me. Does that help you with that question?
That was the best answer I could have ever hoped for. I love it. I love that you spoke to it in all ways. And it's
Yeah.
about consciously, thinking about what you're doing and the decisions you're making and the intention behind them, because your intentions really do set the stage for what will follow and the beliefs that are backing those. So, is there alignment there?
And that's, I think you and I and many of our friends in our world are educating women to say, hey, wait, let's get you on the right path in life, or as quickly as we can, recover you onto the path of going, let's go see what's inside of you first. You're the expert of yourself.
Hmm.
You've been living in this body, your quirks. They're not bad quirks, they're just your body telling you, hey, wake up. Here, listen to me. I need your attention before going outside and outsourcing yourself to everybody else's viewpoint. That's not been in your body for all those years, you know? I'm
Hmm.
sure you've said that.
Yes, and thank you for reiterating it. I love that we are so in alignment. I would love to talk about, the good girl burnout, and I think this applies to the fertility journey as well as your emotional eating journey because you can be doing everything right and really exhaust yourself, deplete yourself because you're following every single thing that you think that you should be doing in order for this to happen. But what
Mhm.
happens when you are so rigid, so controlled, so constricted that there's no room for movement or flow or mistakes or being in the moment or being present because you're scared of doing something wrong, quote unquote.
And that goes back to if you feel like that's part of you that you have to be the good girl or you have to follow the rules or you, or some sort of should or have to in our line of work in our line we don't like shoulds or have tos.
Hmm.
We're embracing it or we're choosing to instead, but um oh my gosh, I just lost my train of thought. I got carried away. Sorry.
It'll come back to you.
Huh?
Trust that it will come back to you, but that
No, the
this
good girl. Okay, yeah. So, but that's the thing is like, so if you've been like following the program and you have a belief and you've made a decision somewhere along the life, like I am one of those people that has to be a good girl, and then you're going into this huge fertility journey with all these professional people giving you the straight facts or giving you the tests, and you're measuring yourself up against that. Can you tell where you're going to fail? Can you feel how like disheartening that will be because you start to outsource your compassion and love and self-care based on like numbers and
hmm
figures and stats and usually awful scenarios. So it's can you can see how you would burn out from matching up that good girl and getting it perfect or succeeding, oh, I'm going to get the A. Oh, I made or whatever grade. Oh, I got the good grade. I made the baby. So there's a lot going on underneath the mind and inside the body with those stories with that wording. And yes, catch yourself like we talked about before. Have a friend, have Ashley, have someone like me listen to you because if that's going on, that's just going to make things worse when you're not doing the right diet or doing the protocol or blah 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 fitting into the box. So that's totally contrary. And if you never suffer from good girl, I gotta be the good girl syndrome. Hooray for you. That's awesome.
I think many of us can resonate with that or fall into that where, you don't want to rock the boat, you just want to do the quote unquote right thing and sort of, check all the boxes, and unconsciously do it and not realize the impact and the toll that it's taking on you beneath the surface and how much perhaps inner conflict and turmoil
Mm,
there is inside of you
mm.
because perhaps you don't want to be doing all those things or checking all those boxes, but you are not used to, or it hasn't been your way of being. And
Mhm,
so you just do the things, check the boxes
mhm.
because that's what you feel is necessary. And yet it may not feel in alignment.
And you keep using those beautiful words, feel and in alignment. And I'm imagining the women that speak to you or listen to you, like they're understanding that what their deeper feelings, not just past emotions that are underlying, but like, how does this feel inside me? That is a big no-no. Or, yep, that's a yes for that alignment because they can start practicing in other places. I'll just jump in and say, if this on the fertility journey, there's one sort of like box of stuff happening, but in other areas of their life, can they practice getting that into alignment with anything else that they're living, doing, eating, exercising, so that they're totally confident, like this is a no for me and this is a yes for me. And it's easier
Hmm.
to be like, no, I'm not doing that anymore. I know you've said we're going to do XYZ, but I just am not feeling it. And funny enough, that happened to me. It wasn't, I kind of went off the edge and was like, wow, that's when I got pregnant. Okay. See? Because I stopped that pressure. Yeah.
Yeah, there is so much internal pressure that I believe most of us are putting on ourselves
Yeah.
on a daily basis, and we don't realize the toll that it's taking. I feel like women in this day and age are under a lot more stress and pressure than they were previously in the past, and
Yeah.
it really is taking a toll on our nervous systems because we are just go, 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 do, 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 check off all the lists, all the boxes. And where are you in that scenario every day, every month, every year? And you can
Mhm.
get lost, you can forget about yourself and wonder why you feel disconnected and
Yeah.
disempowered and like you've lost your way. And so it's important to implement practices and have practices and tools for your
Mhm.
nervous system so that you can reset on a
Mhm.
regular basis and so that doesn't become your way of being for a prolonged time. Because yes, we may need it in the moment, but it is not meant to be our state of being in the long term.
No, that's why all of us are having these issues with our nervous systems and not being able to conceive, not being able to wind down, not get sleep, have issues with our guts, have issues with our hormones, because if we're on all the time and we never give ourselves time off until we hit the pillow, that's not the time to start going off because that's when the brain starts going, hey, you didn't give me a break all day. My
Yeah.
cortisol is up. You don't have any melatonin. You're not going to sleep. And then it makes healing and staying nourished and staying powerful. We need our energy reserves to stay powerful to do baby making.
Yes. That's one of the things that shows up oftentimes is my clients begin to notice they're able to sleep better. They don't wake up so much in the night because if they're not having troubles with, ruminating thoughts when their head hits the pillow, then they're, waking up in the middle of the night thinking about the next day and all the things to do and all the appointments and all the everything. And it becomes
Yeah.
very overwhelming. And
Yep.
so having that pause and those resets and those practices not
Mm,
only help you on your fertility journey, but
mhm.
as a mother, when you're postpartum, these are things that are going to serve you in the long term. And then when you hit perimenopause and menopause, you will be able to notice the imbalances and be able to course correct in the moment instead of like when that has turned into a symptom, into something else that you have to tend to and deal with.
Yes, 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 yes. And the more you and I educate, and I'm sure many women are seeing this now because of other women speaking up, like this doesn't even have to be an issue. Like we could start learning so early on in life. Our girls can learn instead of the education they've gotten, or I got no education about this, you know what I'm saying? So part of what I
Mhm.
do as an integrative health practitioner, like our motto is we want to put a health coach in every home, which basically is like having each person be their own health coach, be their own best advocate like you teach, and start learning as much as you can because we have so many tools that you can do from home now, and
Mhm.
and stop that anxiety and stop that stress and going, wait, I could just do this in my home, and I have a caring person that's going to listen to me for more than what, 7 minutes or whatever they
Yes.
give you. Like, okay, this person, I listen to my clients for an hour and a half when we start. I mean, I need
Mhm.
to, otherwise I can't know the whole person at least.
Yes.
So, but
It's
yes, no.
important. Yeah, that's what I see is so valuable is that we don't always need help in the moment. We continue to have obstacles to navigate on the fertility journey and
Mhm.
to actually be able to move through things and process them as they're showing up. So we're not
Yeah.
storing them energetically in our bodies.
Mhm.
It's so important and to be able to sit with and process things and not be overwhelmed by them. It's like I know that if I sit with this for 90 seconds, this will pass
Mhm.
and I don't have to
Mhm.
hold on to this emotion, fear, state of being for a prolonged state of time. And I was unaware of that until I learned that. And I was like, wait a minute, I can just leave so much of the past in the past where it belongs, and I don't have to carry that with me day in and day out. And I think that's very empowering to
Yeah.
know and to embody.
Oh, yeah. And as you're talking, I'm saying like crying, like depending on your background, like crying wasn't allowed when I was growing up. Well, you sucked it up. And
Mhm.
that's where food went in to my mouth because it was easier to suck up that and suck it up and stuff it down. But if any of your listeners have ever been taught to ignore their emotions or feelings or let out their tears, X that and it's time. Feel it, let it pass through, like you said, because the energy needs to move through so that you can get to the other side and rejuvenate your mind, body, and
Mhm.
soul to go, here we go again. Like we let that pass, kind of like imagine not taking yourself to the toilet. You need to do that. It's a similar thing with your emotions.
I've not heard that analogy before.
Well, I know. Imagine.
No, I can't
I didn't
imagine.
get TMI on you, but this medical professional stayed in the safe zone. But oh
Oh,
my goodness.
I think that we can all resonate with perhaps how much we have held on to. And I love that you share, where you've been and where you are now, because I think you have so much wisdom. Like looking back, what would you say are the three top things that you would do now if you were in that boat, if you were in those shoes, and you were trying to get pregnant with all the wisdom and knowledge you have now? Where would you start?
Oh my gosh. Well, figuring it like early on in life, in my teens and 20s, getting to an excellent female provider or some provider that's like, let's really understand where your hormones are and not just on, you know, the scales of the medical system. I need them, but I'm bagging them because what they would show me versus what the naturopathic doctor would show me, what a functional medicine doctor would show me would be like, wow, I am not in optimal ranges. I am off the charts in some things, or they missed some of my symptoms. It wasn't relating. So getting somebody in your life that really understands this journey and how they can assess your hormones and know where you're at, just in case something's up. And then nourishing your body with as healthy food as you possibly can, making sure it's not full of toxins, processed chemicals, whatever, and really doing your body and your future children a service of saying, okay, I'm going to have a great house and a great foundation with the nutrients, with the water, with my products around my house,
Hmm.
skincare, clothing, everything. Like we know enough information about what's in our environment now that could be interfering
Hmm.
and with our bodies. And so having someone on your team to get into that so that you are kind of like preventing and getting ready for that phase. And then having a trusted person along the way to have these emotional conversations so that you're not storing them in and getting with somebody like me or Ashley to be like, how's your mindset around this? Like pre-gaming. It's almost like I want to say like you're pre-gaming and saying like I want to be prepared for this and clear out any of the mental clutter or the unconscious emotional baggage that you could be bringing. And then like setting up your boundaries so that, okay, this is what I'm doing in my life with my partner, my person, however I'm doing this, and just surrounding yourself in yourself with that love and surrounding your environment with that love to really continue this from trying to conceive, getting, conceiving, and then when you have the babies, when you move on in life, so that you're setting yourself up for a great, I'll use program, in our language, like a great sort of track and pathway,
Hmm.
mind, body, and soul, and then hanging out with people like us, which I have your back, you have my back always.
Always, absolutely. I I love that. I think it's so important to just reflect on where you're at and truthfully, be
Mhm.
honest with yourself of what is going to serve you the most moving forward. Because
Yeah.
It's so important to actually pay mind of and look at and ask yourself, how do I want to feel? What do I want my life to look like? And where am I out of alignment? And how can I bring that back? And who can help
Yeah.
me to do so if I can't do that by myself? I know I didn't get to where I am by myself either. And for the longest time, I was a lone wolf and didn't want to
Yep.
ask for support because I
Yep.
deemed it as a weakness. And
Yep.
so, really, to just know that support is welcome, it's available, and it doesn't mean that you're weak when you have that
Mhm.
goal that you wish to achieve.
Yeah. And I think in our line of work, we're losing those kind of words. We don't refer to ourselves those ways. Why would we want to be so hard on ourselves and so mean to ourselves? Because we know the effects. So hopefully you and I and a whole bunch of other gals out there are switching this up so that this doesn't have to be. We don't have to struggle
Mhm.
like this.
Mhm.
Life is precious. Go for it. Get what you want, you know?
Absolutely. Life is precious. I
Yes.
love that. I have a very fun and friendly rapid fire so
Okay.
that we can end on a positive and hopeful note, but I would love to know if you're team coffee or team tea.
Coffee.
Are you a morning person or a night owl?
Morning.
What's one thing that instantly helps your nervous system settle?
Justin Timberlake.
That was not what I thought it was going to be.
His
What,
music and watching him dance is like, anyway.
what's one misconception about emotional eating you wish would disappear forever?
It's not all about the food.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Fill in the blank. Healing began when I finally.
Felt safe in my body.
And what's bringing you joy right now?
You, your smiling face always and hearing your voice.
Aw, you're the
Mm.
best.
No, you
Is
are.
there
Yeah.
any final notes that you would like to leave listeners with today?
Oh gosh. If you have any sort of inkling inside yourself to get help, immediately do so. Do not put yourself last or do not put your wants and needs to the side. Go find that person. And if you meet that person and they're not it, okay, listen to find that alignment and go find the next person because someone is out there to help you. Yeah.
That is so beautiful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I really just wanted to thank you so much for being here. I know this conversation is going to help so many women feel less alone and also realize that emotional eating isn't a lack of discipline. It's often a sign that their nervous system is asking for care and not criticism. If
Yes.
today's conversation resonated with you, Denise offers her emotional eating freedom framework, which is a 16-week one-on-one coaching program designed to help women heal emotional eating at its roots through
Mm.
nervous system regulation, subconscious rewiring, and compassionate support. You can
Mm.
also book a free assessment session through the link in the show notes.
You
I
have an
want to thank you
editor.
from the bottom of my heart for joining me today, Denise, and for sharing all of your wisdom with the listeners. And I look forward to seeing everyone on the next episode of Sacred Fertility Flow. Thank you so much.
Bye.
The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste.